So this starts our TAC meeting. Welcome everybody into this air-conditioned space. We're enjoying being between air-conditioned places during this hot weather. I'm filling in for Larry Zimmerman, Chair Zimmerman today, who is not available to be here. So with that, let's go through introductions, starting on my left.
Tony Bergolero, City of Sebastopol.
Great Scott, City of Cotati.
Ashley Potter, City of Sonoma.
Vanessa Garrett, Bernard Park.
Back this way.
And Trey, SCTA, RCPA. That's right, SCTA, RCPA.
I'm Laughlin, Sonoma County Public Infrastructure.
Near the Sonoma County Public Infrastructure.
Karina Wilson with Santa Rosa.
Derek Montani, City of Cloverdale.
Dave Rupert, SCTA, RCPA.
And Drew Nichols. And I'm Elizabeth Tyree with Sonoma County Regional Parks. And folks online joining us today. Drew, if you could share names with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just read the names that I see. We have John Ripper from the City of Petaluma. We have Steve Urbanek from Sonoma County Public Infrastructure. Ross Clendetter from SCTA, RCPA. And then Frederick Schmerk. I know I said that wrong.
It is okay. Frederick Schirmer. I work with Caltrans. Sonoma County is my liaison county for Caltrans.
Well, thank you and welcome all to today's meeting. So first, the second is public comment. Do we have any public today wishing to speak on items not on the agenda?
I'm not seeing any members of the public on Zoom right now.
Thank you, Drew. Moving on to item 3, approval of meeting notes. I do have 2 modifications to the notes. The date of the meeting notes is to be changed to 6/27. And then a note on what I reported on underneath item 10. Sonoma County Regional Parks was invited to submit a priority conservation area grant. We haven't applied for it yet, but we were invited to apply. Are there any other corrections, changes to the minutes today? With that, unless there's any objections, approved as corrected. So item 4, measures M and Go Sonoma.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll be covering these items. So the first item is our usual update on the status of Measure M invoice and obligation status for both fiscal year 23-24 and for the current fiscal year 24-25. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and we can follow up on those. And then that concludes that item. The next item is the Measure M C presentation schedule for both Measure M and Go Sonoma, I should say. We updated the schedule based on the feedback from the TAC from last month. The changes included correcting the date for the city of Healdsburg to 2024 from 2023. We shifted the date for city of Santa Rosa from Cesar Chavez Day to March 24th. And we also, at the request of the city of Sebastopol, added a date for Sebastopol in May for the Bodega Avenue project. I should note that Bjorn from Petaluma mentioned to me that he has a conflict for the October date, as his wife is expecting. And so we are looking for volunteers that may want to swap dates with Petaluma, preferably after December, if there's any volunteers.
And you're looking for people who are scheduled after
Yeah, so
that
in
time.
January, we have Cotati and Windsor scheduled. February would be Sonoma County Public Infrastructure. March would be City of Santa Rosa. April is Smart, May is Sebastopol, and June is Healdsburg, if anyone is willing to trade with Petaluma's October 28th date. And we could follow up next month if people need time to think about it.
Well, Dorian will still need that day off, but we'll have a little bit of time to plan for that at a future meeting. Item 4.3.
Okay. So item 4.3, the final 2023 Go Sonoma Street implementation plan has been completed. We were hoping to have hard copies available today, but they're still at the printers, so we will be distributing those at the next TAC meeting. And there is a link providing the agenda to the final document. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know.
Okay, so moving on to item 4.4, Go Sonoma draft transit fare fee policy statement, and this is an action item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is a policy for the 2% of Go Sonoma funds that go towards providing fare-free transit service. This action would revise some of the language in the Go Sonoma Street implementation plan to reflect some changes on how the policy would be administered. This is a reimbursement program for transit service to waive the cost of having to collect fares for those transit services. The Transit Technical Advisory Committee did review this recommended policy and they concurred with our recommendations. And so we're bringing it to the TAC now for your review and approval so that the board can take action on it in the future. And as I mentioned, this is policy that only applies to transit operators for the specific 2% that is for fare-free programs that Go Sonoma. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any of the jurisdictions have questions on this item? Anybody online have questions on this item? Okay. Well, thank you for that.
And
Bring
it
that
is an
forward.
action item, Madam Chair,
Oh,
so we do
Thank you
need
for that reminder.
a motion.
Who will put forward a motion for item 4.4? For the policy to be included in the Go Sonoma Strategic Implementation Plan?
I can provide a motion. It's a very quiet group today.
Yeah, also Karina. So.
And is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. And, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the next item 4.5 is the Measure M fiscal 23-24 reminder. As a reminder, letters are due to Shauna on September 16th for your fiscal 23-24 Measure M expenditures, and we will be following up with you on that. So happy to answer questions you have on that standard reporting process we do annually.
Are there any questions from any of the jurisdictions? Anybody in the group? Thank you for that update, the mini updates. So item 5, regional information update discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So item 5.1 is the usual updates on federal inactive projects. I did get an update from Bjorn on their status, so please reach out to us if you have updates on your inactive projects so that we can get them off the list, so that we can ensure federal project delivery remains in good standing with Federal Highway Administration. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions, observations from any of the jurisdictions? For that report, so item 6, the SCT RCPA meetings.
So Drew, I don't know if we have a draft agenda ready yet for the September meeting. Yeah, let me pull up. I've got a tracking list.
While you're calling that up, we were just talking before the meeting how quickly September is going to be here. July is passed pretty quickly.
So we do not have a board meeting in August, and so we do have a number of items planned for the September meeting. One that we are wrapping up right now is a consultant contract award for the State Route 121 A Street East intersection improvement project. Other items that may be included in September are a cooperative agreement with Caltrans for the US 101 landscaping between Windsor and Sierra Avenue in Cotati. Go Sonoma cooperative agreements, and Oshana worked with many of you before she went on vacation on finalizing all the Go Sonoma cooperative agreements for not only Go Sonoma roads for the jurisdictions that receive Go Sonoma roads funding, but also Go Sonoma transit for transit operators, and then the competitive projects under move traffic, improve safety, and build bikeways and pathways. We'll also be taking the fare free policy that you just approved to the board for approval in September. And then we potentially will have an item for the Santa Rosa Creek Trail project for City of Santa Rosa for appropriating those funds. And then a few other information item updates on the Sonoma Clean Power Needs Assessment for transportation that was recently done. A charter update of our Climate Action Advisory Committee. Comprehensive transportation plan update that this committee previously heard that was shifted to September. And then an update on the bike share program. With that, happy to answer any questions you have on those items.
Please remind me how far in advance the meeting notice is typically posted.
We typically post the agenda 1 week in advance of the meeting. We're starting to do that on all of our committees as well.
Any questions from the room? Or anybody online? Not seeing any hands raised. Moving forward to item 7, our roundtable discussion, a combination of the typical topics, grants being pursued, our bid environment, and then on to other business comments or announcements. So starting with grants being pursued, what are the reports from agencies?
Nothing to report.
I don't know. I wasn't here last meeting. Rob was in my place, but we also got invited to do an application for the priority conservation areas. It's for the Southeast Greenway.
I believe City of Petaluma was also invited, correct, Bjorn?
Yes, for Adobe Creek Trail, PCA.
And I think that kind of leads us to the topic we did include in your packet. MTC has announced a call for projects for the Regional Measure 3 Safe Routes to Transit and Bay Trail program. This is one combined funding pot with a couple of different eligibilities under Regional Measure 3. So you don't necessarily need to have a project that's a Bay Trail project, could be kind of a Safe Routes to Transit type project, but it's very much an active transportation focused program. There is guidance provided at the links and on the announcement provided in your packet, and applications are due to MTC by October 14th. And this is kind of a similar process to the active transportation program. I should note with the state budget cuts to the active transportation program, MTC feels there like there would be a lot of interest in this grant program for a lot of those projects that would have submitted for ATP this cycle or were submitted and potentially could not receive funding since there's only less than 200 million available statewide in this cycle. So I do encourage everyone to look at this program, and also Caltrans has the Highway Safety Improvement Program Cycle 12 open right now. Applications are due in September, I believe, and we're happy to help support any way we can on those projects. That's all I have. This, I'm sure.
Is there anyone planning to submit for HSIP?
No, Kevin.
Yeah.
Pelham as well.
Yeah. What are your BCRs?
North of 40.
Okay.
I don't know the other details, I think. Yeah, but I know the numbers is north of 40.
Yeah.
Which option would be? Especially surprises.
Oh, yeah, it's high friction surface treatment.
Hmm.
Application.
That's the only one we thought that we get something beyond the 20.
Yeah, our BCR was 2, so not applying. Unfortunately.
No, the others will not.
Yeah,
West Coast level.
yeah, okay. David, have you had any word on when we'll hear back about ATP cycle 7?
So I believe the state should do their recommendations probably in November before their December meeting.
Huh.
Right now, they're going through a process of figuring out how they're going to administer the program since their budget estimate got cut significantly by the state budget. And so they're trying to determine what the tiebreakers would be, if they're gonna have some kind of contingency lift as if funding gets restored by the legislature in the future. But the schedule, I think, will continue with recommendations October, November. So for the statewide portion, then MTC would make their recommendations probably December or January for the regional portion.
Okay, but then this Safe Routes to Transit program application would be due before then, so do you recommend that we automatically apply the same projects that we did for ATP?
I definitely think it wouldn't hurt, especially since you might already have a lot of information you need to be able to apply, so it might be worth applying for this program as well.
David, may I ask a question? You mentioned there was a link within our agenda packet for these grants, and I'm not, unless I printed this, a different
I
version.
think
out.
there was a hyperlink, but you should be able to just look at the MTC website and look up the RM3 Safe Routes to Transit and Bay Trail program, and you'll find it.
Thank you.
We're happy to send out forward this email that I received to the group as well after the meeting.
That would be terrific. Thank you.
I would have a question if anybody is familiar with the culvert aquatic organism passage program.
Who puts that out?
District.
And I think Caltrans is looking for letters of support right now, but it is a program administered by Federal Highway Administration directly.
Is there something? I was hoping somebody here had been involved in one of those.
I think it's a relatively new program. I'm not very familiar with.
Anything else on grants or grant or funding questions from the group? How about bid environment? Anybody go out to bid on projects, have some bid openings?
We did recently go out to bid for reconstructing a road, Dowdell, and the bids came in great. They were like 20% under the engineer's estimate. We got 10 bidders too.
Wow.
And 8 out of the 10 were under the engineer's estimate. So I don't know if anybody else is seeing the same thing for reconstruction.
Yeah, we had the same experience on the day.
Huh.
It's really good.
That's good.
That's
Really nice not
Yeah.
to find more funding. than
Yes,
once.
exactly. So.
And I don't know if Edie shared, it was a few months ago, we did our slurry seal, crack seal bid, and that came in under the engineer's estimate also. The low bidder did at least, yeah. Do little construction, so that was a surprise, but good.
For change.
That's a pleasant change to hear, and hopefully the pattern continues. We opened a bid for Hoodeman Flue, which includes some specialty precast concrete construction work. That's the one I reported many months ago, that it came in 40% over engineer's estimate. This time we were just slightly over engineer's estimate. We did a few changes to the plans. We also had required pre-bid meetings with contractors that helped in that, but we're still reviewing those that submitted bids, and we'll make a determination later. It's just slightly over engineer's estimate right now. Just a couple $100,000 over, which is much better than last time. Who else on updates to construction themes, construction prices? It's good to hear the contractors are responding.
I think they can just get striking down. It's always. It's what we have.
Completing the work, completing the projects. That's it. Anybody else, construction. Moving on to. unless you're gonna say-
Just a couple more notes. We are working on Safe Streets for All right now for the fiscal year 24 program. We are working on the application I mentioned last month in partnership with the cities of Petaluma, Cotati, Roanoke Park, Santa Rosa, and the town of Windsor. So we plan to submit that application to SDOT at the end of August. In addition, for our fiscal year 23 Safe Streets for All award, that we got some planning grant funds for. We just issued an RFP to our on-call list yesterday. We expect proposals due back in September for that work, and that work includes a countywide speed reduction study, a targeted engineering traffic survey for the city of Healdsburg, a countywide safe routes to school plan, and then a targeted safe routes to school plan for Healdsburg as well, and then a quarter study of Lakeville Highway and Lakeville Street in Petaluma. So we expect, as I mentioned, proposals due back in September and be awarding that contract in November. That's all I have.
Terrific. Great news, a lot of activity. All right, so moving on to other business. Any comments, any announcements, and Chris?
Yeah, a quick update since there's time. I can give an update on the VMT mitigation banking and exchange program. So we have Fair and Peers under contract now, so they've been doing some preliminary planning work. So what we're working on right now is putting together the project technical advisory committee. So we have a number of openings still. I can go through who we have representatives for first, but ideally we'd like to have a representative from each jurisdiction that we can send materials to and have feedback or, discussions with. So the idea right now is to have the TAC meet 4 times virtually to, review materials and guide the project. So we have representatives so far lined up for Caltrans, City of Cotati, City of Petaluma, City of Santa Rosa, Trina, MDC ABAG, and Sonoma County Council. So we have one of our legal counsel on board to provide that perspective. So plenty of openings. So I'll be reaching out, or Fair and Peers will be reaching out over the next month or so to kind of fill those other gaps. And we want to make it easy to kind of interact and interface with the project. So we'll actually be setting up a stakeholder group as well that'll be more focused on interacting with the development community and other stakeholders that may be interfacing with the program. So, what they'd like to see. But for the first meeting, which we're targeting for September, we want to talk about the program and program options, the goals of the project, look at a potential list of VMT reducing projects, and talk about the outreach plan and interfacing with the stakeholders. So more to come on that soon. So we'll be working on this over the next 16 to 18 months. So that's where we're at. So if you don't have a representative already, we'll be reaching out to try and get someone lined up to participate.
Appreciate that update. Are there any questions from the group today on that? Any agencies want to volunteer their participation? We're only hearing from the consultant. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other announcements today? Your business today? Goodness, are we setting record pace for these meetings?
Yeah.
I appreciate you all coming together for this meeting. And with that, the TAC meeting is adjourned.
Looks like that.